So I am just going to ramble here. So, just get ready for this because I wanted to record everything that I saw today. When I was originally looking up Oaxaca, I saw that they had pyramids, and I said, gotta go look at that. That would be super cool for me because, I like the history and everything. And we went to the first one, Monte Alban, and I was like blown away by the similarities between ancient Egypt and I'm going to get this name wrong lots of times, Zapotecos, I think is how you pronounce it. I've tried really hard. I've written it down. I'm always, I think, going to get it wrong. But anyway, Zapotecos. But, I thought, my God, there has to be like some kind of book or something on how similar these two cultures are. And of course, so I Googled it, and naturally I get something like an article where it's Mesoamerica liked gold and so did the Egyptians, and you're like, no, that's not exactly what I wanted to talk about, because it was so much more interesting. For example, they had their step pyramids in Oaxaca, in Monte Alban. But what they also had, which I thought was absolutely fascinating, is to show prisoners on their hieroglyphs. They showed prisoners with the arms tied behind their backs, just like the Egyptians did. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know all about that. Stacy told me about that when I was taking Egyptology classes from Stacy. Oh, yay. And so I get all excited about this. And then we find out, or, the tour guide tells me that to show that someone is captured or that they're a prisoner or whatever, you just have a head that's upside down. And that means that they're captured. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the ancient Egyptians, they did that. Isn't this amazing? That people, no matter what age we're in, it's like we are the same. We have never really evolved, even though we think we have. It's like, I don't know, everything new is old again and everything old is new again. I don't know. Of course, they had human sacrifice and things that I don't think the Egyptians had for a very long time. Maybe what they did like in the very first part, but that was two of the things that was like super duper cool that I was thinking, oh, that is awesome. Then come to find out that their columns and the the lintels, I don't think that's the word, but the pieces of stone over the doorways and all, solid pieces of volcanic rock. Their columns and the door frames, basically, for all intents and purposes, solid pieces of volcanic rock. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because the Egyptians had the lintels and the door frames of the rock, not volcanic rock. Of course, the obelisks were all solid pieces of rock. And I'm thinking that is, another big coincidence, right? Okay, so then we're in the van going to another stop. Yagul is where we're going to, Yagul. And the guy turns around and he says, the Zapotecas, they figured out that the calendar was 365 days. And I said, so did the Egyptians. I mean, oh my gosh. And we were talking about the sundials and yada, yada, yada. And he goes, but on their calendar, they only put 360 days. And I said, wait a minute. Stop right there. Did you say that they did 360 days? And he said, yes. And I said, oh my God. The Egyptians did 360 days. And then there were like 4 days, kind of like Dia de la Muerte, where the, barrier was really thin between the worlds. And it was like really bad to do anything on like these 4 days. And I don't remember, because my math obviously is like, there's not going to be a 5th day, but I'm sure Stacy will type in and correct me somewhere. But I'm like, oh my God, that is so, I mean, what are the chances that these two cultures both say it's 360, but we got these extra days and then we're just like not gonna, it's like bad. I mean, I think that's kind of weird. Anyway, then, oh my gosh, this was like what something like really did. Okay, so you remember, because I was thinking, okay, so it's all Egyptian and stuff, but then you remember like the more Egyptian than Egyptians, the Nubians and the Cushites and the Merowites, Merowe. Anyway, I know it's Merowe. Okay, so then you have Menerinas, right, who put Caesar, not the Caesar for other people who are watching, but Augustus, I think. Not really remembering exactly. Stacy will probably correct me again. But anyway, this queen, was like, come at me, bro, to the Romans when the Romans wanted to take over Merowe. And she's like, no, don't think so. And so she buried a bust of Caesar underneath her doorway, so that anybody who walked in would basically be walking over Augustus or Caesar. And that's like a big no-no. I mean, because like that's a big offensive thing, And guess what the Zapotecas did? Zapotecas did. They had all of their conquered people engraved on all of their steps, so that not only are the priests or the nobles walking on them, but also the commoners. So like they're putting it up in their market and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that is more Egyptian than Egyptian right there. They did that. Oh my God, that is so cool. And then, so we're at Yagul, at this like little bitty site, and Luis, the tour guide, he goes, look, this is going to be kind of cool. It's also kind of not cool, but I mean, nobody comes to this place, nobody, and it's going to be empty. We're going to be the only people there. He goes, but it's kind of cool because you can get to see the palaces a little bit better. And we also, Luis and I, got in and got to see the burial chamber of the nobles or whatever. I don't know if it was the king or some leader or whatever. Oh, the king! I gotta tell you about that one too. Don't let me forget. But anyway, it was pretty cool. Everything was looted naturally, but they had these guardians. I took pictures of, and so I went down into the little crypt area, because of course they're all buried underneath their houses, and the leaders are buried in the north. And the palace that we went to go see at Yagul was also in the north, and it was the same thing as Monte Alban. We walked in the way that we walk in is you walk in and you walk in from the north. So you walk in and you are looking at the, I don't know what it is, the palace, basically. You walk in on the palace, right? And then there's all the areas that actually looks like Machu Picchu, which I think is like just fascinating too, because it's like all of these cultures developed at different times, but they all have kind of the same structure, even in Mesoamerica. Yeah, I mean, not just Egypt and whatever, but Luis was very fascinated. Like, he didn't even know about the step pyramids, so I showed him about the step pyramids. Anyway, so come to find out that the north is very important to the Zapotecas, because they are, that's like indicates morning and power and rising to them and all of that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's kind of interesting, because the Egyptians think east is really important and all of that kind of stuff. So I was like, that is another kind of similarity. It's not like east and east or north and north or whatever, but they're very keyed in on their cardinal points, I suppose, as to what section is important in the sky or whatever. Then what else was I going to tell you? Okay, so the last place that we went to, Mitla, it was really hot by this point, but so we went up and we got to see the tower, or the see, now I'm getting tired and I can't even think of words. It's like words, English hard. Anyway, so we got to see the temple, and like a very good reconstruction of the temple. And it's just amazing, because just like the Egyptians, again, just like the Egyptians, they just put stone on stone. There's no mortar there. And then on top of that, they put the adobe. And then on top of that, they did the paint with the red, which they crushed minerals and all of that kind of fun stuff. So when we went up, and then we walked around on the inside, and then we came back down, and I was looking at this temple, the last temple that we went to in Mitla, and it really kind of struck me from being down and looking up, as Hatshepsut's temple or funerary place, her burial place. Although, I mean, it's nothing like that, because it's red, and Hatshepsut isn't. It has very narrow stairs. Hatshepsut doesn't, but I don't know, just the lowness, the squatness, the rectangular area, it just struck me that was it, or maybe I just had Egypt on my mind by this point. Okay, so I'm gonna put some pictures up, maybe with some captions, and this is probably me being finished rambling about my day, but it was super duper exciting. And I think I've got to go look more to see if there is a book, because it just seems like there's so many spot on similarities. It's uncanny, and someone much smarter than I am has figured this out. So anyway, bye.